how to approach a girl as an engineer every single time in a way that is going to make her captivated and want your attention. Because look, let's face it, as an engineer, you understand you're in your head a lot. We're grueling away in front of a computer. It's not the most social job. So it can be really tough to like kind of turn on that switch and now start, talking and attracting different women out and about. A lot of engineers, they're introverts, they're in their head, they're overly logical. So in this video, we're going to talk about ways to overcome a lot of those kind of things and get you in a place where you are attracting the kind of girls you really want. So let's start with the first thing. The first thing is we have to realize women are going to value emotion over logic. Okay. This is the biggest challenge here. As an engineer, high chances you're a very logical individual, very intelligent, very smart, very demure. But at the same time, logic isn't the best thing for you. We want to create powerful emotions. Now, part of that is self talk. So, for instance, right now you're watching this. Let me guess. You're saying, Jared, I'm an introvert. I'm an introvert. I'm in my head a lot, right? Well, for starters, stop calling yourself an introvert. Instead, you are now, I dubbed thee an ambivert because introvert, extrovert, that's just a spectrum. Stop calling yourself an introvert, start thinking yourself as an ambivert, and that you're not this like isolated person. You don't like people, you're not good around people. This is all just negative self talk that's actually leading you into this really bad self fulfilling prophecy. So we're going to just shove that aside, okay? The second thing here is you need to understand how you talk in the office, how you're talking to your project managers, how you're talking to other developers, other engineers. It's going to be very different than how you're talking to a woman. With engineer talk, when you're working at Google, Meta, wherever the hell you work, it's going to be very to the point. Okay, this project's due on this date with this code, and here's this problem. Here are these solutions. Very logical. With emotion, with women, we're talking on more emotional feel. What are your opinions? What do you feel when that comes up? What are the senses? What do you smell, hear, taste? What kind of stories do you have? This is not the kind of work banter that you're used to. So it's almost like learning another language. You've already learned HTML, C++, Python. You already learned a bunch of languages. You may as well learn female. So that's just a whole nother thing for you to kind of get through your head. And you could do it through a very core process. And I want you now to use your strengths to your advantages. One of the most funniest yet powerfully effective things I've seen some of my engineer students do, and I've had plenty. I've been doing this for nearly 2 decades now, so I've had hundreds of students, if not thousands. Many of them have been, engineers. Is they are a master at using the flow chart, meaning all your approaches and interactions with different women, they can kind of go in a predictable way. Now, granted, I've never done one approach that's been exactly the same as another. They're all kind of unique snowflakes, right? Every snowflake's pretty much different. But at the end of the fucking day, it's water. All right. It's the same substance, meaning you can approach the same way, you can close the same way, the kind of stories you're telling are going to be the same. And ultimately, what you can do is as you're going out and talking to different women, you're going to notice patterns. That's the beautiful thing about being an engineer is that you are a master at breaking down and seeing patterns emerge. My traction ladder, for instance, the way I came up with my traction ladder wasn't handed to me by Mount Sinai, by God or whatever. It was, I did a bunch of approaches. I go, all right, of the ones that were successful, 80% of them went through a very predictable series of events, aka the attraction ladder, right? So you can do the same thing and create your flow chart. If the girl does this, then you should do that. If she doesn't do this, then you do that. And then if you notice, well, if she does X and then I do Y, and I tend to not get the girl, tends to fail, maybe we just, stop doing Y and instead come up with the next one. So what I call is it like going back to the lab again. You're gonna be like an M&M, like the wrapper, not the candy. So the idea here is you go out, you get data, you see what's working, you go back to the lab, and you go, all right, here's what I noticed. She gave me this shit test. I did these approaches, and I would typically get these reactions. So now you would kind of brainstorm when it's quiet, when you're have time to think, and you go, all right, here's the solutions. Here's the things I can say instead, or stuff I can start testing out. And then next time I get this response from a girl, I know exactly what to say now. And you go, but Jared, I don't think like that. I'm not creative. I don't really know what to say. Well, guess what? I did the hard work for you. 2 decades of studying this shit, going out there, getting rejected again and again to figure out what works. So if you want to figure out what's holding you back on like a personal level, in the description is a link to get a free custom game plan of basically a free strategy session with a student from my team that actually been where you were and got through it. You can go over exactly what's holding you back. You can go over the pain points you're dealing with. You can go over what are the best conversation topics, what are the best routines, sound bites, you name it. All right. And by the way, no, this is not a sales call. This is just a way of us helping you on a more personalized level because one size does not fit all. We need to figure out exactly what's been holding you back. So if you're interested, go in the description, click the link. You have everything to gain, you got nothing to lose. So as we said, number two, you're gonna come up with your flow chart and you are going to go full nerd, full engineer mode, and you're gonna plan for every eventuality until eventually, by the way, you're not gonna even need this. It's going to be kind of like second nature. It's gonna be like driving a car. But in the beginning, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, the third thing, the warm up. I've covered this in other videos of mine. I've covered it in depth in my book, How to Meet Your Dream Goal Tonight, but I should bring it up again here. As an engineer, you're going into work, you're sitting in a cubicle or now a space pod or whatever the hell they have in your office. But the point is, you're alone, you're wired in, you're typing away. You are just no distractions. You got your headphones on. You are very, very much in your head, and you're supposed to be because you are coding, you are doing deep work. Well, if you're gonna go out into the real world and start talking to people, meeting women, having fun, you're gonna have to realize that mode is not gonna serve you in this new setting. Meaning, more than anyone else, like at least me at work right now, I'm talking. I got cameras and lights on me and like weird people manning the cameras. I mean, like I get it, but at least I'm around people. I'm talking. I'm out of my head. When you are just typing away and you are just doing very heavy, deep work, it's hard to make that gear shift. It's kind of going from like gear one to gear six. You're going to fail. You're going, so well, here's what you need to do. Talking is your friend. All right. Call up your best friend. Start talking. Or you're like, Jared, I don't have any friends. Okay. Play and sync or whatever your jam is and sing along with the music. Just get your mouth moving. Get out of work mode. Start dancing. Another powerful thing you can do to help you warm up is change of clothing. So maybe you have your like, I've got my button attire, and this is my work attire, and this is like my outfit I wear to Google. But then you completely switch outfits, and you're like, here's my rocker gear, or here's my like punk gear, here's my shredded cool bad boy gear, whatever the hell. You'll be astounded how much your vibe and personality can change just based on what you're wearing. It really is incredible. So whatever it takes, you need to warm up. You need to get out of your head because again, this is going to lead to this. We don't want this. We want to get rid of the logical nerd side. And we want to get to the emotion side. So the idea is to go emotional. Now, the last thing I want to leave you with is the idea of the code break. You already know what this means when I say code break. If something's not working in your coding, you know it's not this whole thing. The system's not rigged against you. I guarantee you're not blaming your server. You're not blaming C++. You're not blaming whatever the case. You know that if something's not working, there's just one line of code that's not hitting to the way it should be. And that's the same thing that happens with women. More often than not, instead of blaming society, women, I'm too short, I'm too fat, the women in Miami suck, LA suck, New York suck. We tend to blame all these different things, but the reality is it's just a code break. There's something going on. So you might say, for example, like the perfect opener, but your body language is like this, and you're very timid, and you're approaching her like this. And you're like, the opener didn't work. But look at your demeanor. Look at what you're conveying just with your nonverbals, right? So it's up to you to take a look at the whole picture and ask where the code breaks. Now, there could be many code breaks, but essentially all I'm talking about is sticking points. And in our world, in our industry, code breaks are sticking points. It's like something's not clicking on this area. What is not working? What is not clicking? It is your job to identify what is the sticking point, or in our case, the code break, and then come up with the right solution. And you're only going to get that by putting yourself out there again and again and again and again. I promise you, if you're watching this video and you're an engineer, I promise you, I have failed more times than you've ever tried. And that's why I've succeeded. All right. I guarantee it. Most engineers I know, they'll maybe have done 5 approaches their entire fucking life. All right. They just don't do it because it's so outside of that identity of just work hard. Mom and dad told me to get good grades and get a good job and get in the office and da da da. So you need to get out there and you need to get more attempts so we can get more data, so you can get more code, so we can see where the break is. And you're going, well, Jared, where do I start? How do I even approach girls in the first place? Well, in the next video right here, I'm going to give you my favorite openers as an engineer. We're going to use your personality to your advantage. So if you're an engineer and you want to learn how to get started on approach, click this video right here, right there. Look, it's right here. Maybe it's there, but that'd be stupid. It should be right here. So click that one right now. I'll see you in the next video.